Begin lying on your yoga mat with your knees bent and the soles of the feet resting on the mat. Your arms on either side of you with the fingers pointing down towards the toes. Begin to relax your mind and your breathing, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, clearing your mind of any stress that you may be feeling. On your next inhale, lift your knees in towards your chest, wrapping your arms around your shins. And then begin to rock gently from side to side. Bring your arms down to the mat and drop your knees over to the right. Gently inhale your knees back through the center and then drop them over to the left. Trying to keep both shoulders rooted into the mat and draw your knees up towards your stomach to stretch the low back. Gently twist back through the center, hugging both knees in towards the chest, rocking from side to side. And then release the left leg onto the mat. Take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, twisting it over to the left for a reclined spinal twist. You can gaze out over your right shoulder or up towards the ceiling. Intend to keep your shoulder and the knee moving down towards the ground. Twist back through center, hugging both knees into the chest. And then drop the right leg onto the mat. Bring the right hand to the outside of the left knee and twist it over to the right. You can gaze out over your left shoulder or up towards the ceiling. And then gently twist back through center, hug both knees into the chest and rock from side to side. Then release both feet onto the mat and come to seated with your legs stretched out in front of you. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead, and on an exhale, begin to fold forward, bringing the hands to the feet or resting them on either side of the legs. Intending to keep a long spine here. And then slowly begin to rise up. Cross the right leg over the left. Lift the left arm up and bring the elbow to the outside of the right knee. Your right hand comes back behind you. Keep a tall spine here and gaze out over your right shoulder. Gently twist back through the center, straightening the right leg, and then cross the left leg over the right. Lift the right arm up overhead and twist over to the left, bringing the elbow to the outside of the knee, and your left hand comes back behind you. Think of getting taller with each inhale and going deeper into the twist with each exhale. Twist gently back through the center and come onto all fours in table pose with your wrist, elbows, and shoulders in one line. On an inhale, you're going to lift your head and your tailbone. And as you exhale, tuck the chin towards the chest, rounding the spine. inhale, lift the head and the tailbone. Exhale, round the back. And inhale, lift the head and the tailbone. Exhale, tuck the chin, round the back. Again, inhale, lift the head and the tailbone. And exhale, round the spine. Inhale, lift the head and the tailbone. And exhale, come back into table pose. Lift the right arm up overhead. And then gently thread it underneath the left, dropping your right ear and right shoulder onto the mat. Keeping the hips above the knees. And then push into the left hand to lift the upper body, send the right hand back up towards the ceiling, then release it down to the mat, lifting the left arm up overhead and threading it underneath the right, bringing the left ear and left shoulder onto the mat. Again, keeping the hips directly above the knees. And then push into the right hand to lift the upper body, sending the left hand up towards the ceiling and then releasing it down to the mat. Coming into a wide leg child's pose with the knees stretched wide, big toes together. Relax your forehead down to the mat and stretch the hands out in front of your shoulders. Take several deep inhales and exhales here. And then on your next inhale, push into your hands, sending the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Gaze up towards your knees or your thighs so that the back of your neck is nice and long, and push evenly into your hands and down through the heels. Then on your next inhale, step both feet forward to the front of the mat, coming into a forward fold. You can grab opposite elbows here for ragdoll pose and gently sway from side to side. Then release both hands down towards the mat. Coming back into a forward fold. And then inhale, lift up into a halfway lift, bringing your hands to your shins. Exhale, fold forward. And then on your next inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, bringing the palms together and exhaling them to heart center. On an inhale, lift your arms up, bringing them at a 45-degree angle with the mat, and sit your hips back, coming into chair pose. You want most of the weight in your heels in this pose. Draw the navel in towards the spine. Bring your palms to your chest, and then bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, coming into a twist with the elbows stacked on top of each other, the forearms perpendicular with the mat. Come back through center, and then bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee, twisting over to the left. And then come back through center, lifting the arms up overhead. Then on an exhale, straighten the legs, relax the arms to the sides. And then step your right leg back, coming into warrior two. So bend the left knee, line your left heel up with the arch of the right foot. Your hips and torso face towards the long edge of the mat, and gaze out over your left middle finger. Begin to stretch the left hand over the left toes, dropping it to the mat, lifting the right arm up overhead, straightening the left leg for triangle pose. Then bend your front knee, rising back up into warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips and come to the other side. So line your right heel up with the arch of the left foot. Hips and torso face towards the long edge of the mat. Arms on either side of you at shoulder height. And stretch the right arm out over the right toes. Dropping the right hand down towards the mat. Lifting the left hand up towards the sky. And then straightening the leg for triangle pose. You can gaze up towards your hand or down towards the mat. And then bend the front knee, rising back up into warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips and step your foot up, coming into mountain pose at the top of your mat. Step your feet out wide to the edges of the mat, pointing the toes out. And drop the hips down, bringing the elbows to the inside of the knees and the palms together, coming into a low squat. You can lift the heels here, coming up onto the toes if that's more comfortable. You want to push into the knees with the elbows to really open up the hips. Try to stay tall in the spine. And then come to seated and lie all the way back, bringing your heels in as close to your sitting bones as possible. Press the palms into the mat. Begin to lift the hips up, coming into bridge pose. Option to interlace the fingers underneath the tailbone and come to the outer edge of the shoulders, pressing the palms together. And then release your hands to your sides, pressing the palms into the mat and slowly beginning to lower down. Hug the knees in towards the chest and rock from side to side. And then release your legs and your arms onto the mat, coming into Shavasana. Close your eyes. Let your body be really heavy on the mat and let go of your focus on your breathing, beginning to breathe naturally. You can stay here for as long as you need to, really soaking up all the good things you just did. Thank you for watching.